You will be making a copper cup similar to the one pictured here.
Hello Scouts, welcome to Copper Cup Making Section 1. As you notice, there's going to be 3 pieces of copper in your kit. One is 10.5 inches long, which is this one here. The next one is 3 inches long, and then you'll have a flat sheet of copper. What we are going to do is, if you notice, there is a line across the top here. We are going to cut through that line to also make sure at the same time, too, we don't cut through the other side. We are actually going to split this pipe in half and flatten it out into one solid sheet of copper. Same thing with this one as well, too. There's a little line there as well. We're going to cut that out. You may want to use gloves because copper does have sharp edges on it and it could cut you or it could give you copper splinters. The way we're going to cut this is with a hacksaw, so you will have to need to get yourself a hacksaw. Some of the other tools that you'll be needing too is a flat piece of iron. Concrete works as well too. This is to hammer the copper out on. And then also a couple of channel lock pliers. You can also use regular pliers, but channel locks work the best. Keep in mind, you might want to have your parents help you out with this because it is hard to flatten out the copper and you may need their assistance. Once we get it flattened out, we'll move off to the next section. So we have the line on here, and we're going to start out with the 3-inch piece. Easiest way to do it is if you have a vise, put the piece of copper in the vise. Since this is the shorter one, my vise will open up that far. So I will go ahead, put it in the vise with the line at the very top. Next thing to do is take a hacksaw, lay it across the line towards one edge, and pull back gently. Whoops. Pull back gently on the line and get yourself started. Work it across nice and gentle. Staying with the line. This will take some time. It's not done very shortly. It'll take you a while to get cut through. Don't put a lot of pressure on the pipe. Let the weight of the saw cut through the metal. As you can see, it's cut in two and split just like that. So the next thing we will do is we'll take a pair of vice grips. I'm going to put one pair of vice grips on this side, another pair of vice grips on this side. And we're going to gently spread the copper pipe apart. Again, you might need your parents' help. Don't try to spread it too much because if you tear the copper, it'll be ruined. You just spread it just a little bit. Move your pliers back this way. Same thing with this one. Since you got a little bit of a gap in there, put your pliers on there and bring it out. Spread it out nice and even. And you get a piece like this. The next step on this piece is again find concrete or metal. Again, make sure you have gloves on so you don't cut yourself. And I'm going to flatten this out. I'm using a ball peen hammer. You notice it's got a regular hammerhead on it, and then it's got a rounded. This is the peen part of the hammer. We'll be utilizing that if you'd like. You can pick these up at the store for about $7 or $8. So I'm going to lay the copper down. Again, you may want to have gloves on so you don't cut yourself. And I'm going to hammer it down. You don't have to hammer hard, just nice and gentle. Bring it across. Turn it around. If you notice, I'm not hitting very hard. And this gets you a flat sheet of copper. Now, for the peen part, I like to put little dents in my copper cup. Here's the finished product. If you notice all the little dents in it, that is from the peen part of the hammer. What we're making right now is the bottom piece that fits in this cup. So, again, I'm just going to take the peen part, I'm not going to hit hard, and just make little dents all over it. If you notice as I hit it, the copper is actually curving towards the hammer. That's normal. Now, since I got it curved up, I need to flatten it out again. So I'll take my hammer, flat side, and don't hit it too hard because it'll curve up the other way. You just want to hammer it enough to where it's flat. And there you go. So that's the one piece. The next one, we're going to split as well too. You can use a hacksaw, or maybe you got a cutoff tool that you can cut down. Maybe your neighbors might have one as well too. Again, all this needs to be done before class so we can kind of speed it up because it takes a while to make cups. So you're going to split this one too. Stop. Okay, so we're going to take the vice grips. Since I've got this cut, if you notice I started bending it. We're going to take the vice grips, put them in a little bit. Just like that. Bend them out. Again, not too much because you don't want to tear your copper. It's important not to bend that much. Put your vice grips in. Take your other ones. Put them on the opposite side. Come down. With that, bend them out. Not too much because you don't want to tear your copper. Vice grips in again. Stretch it out. Work your way across. If you notice, I'm going all the way in on my jaw. Might have to back it up a little bit. Just like that. Bend it on out. I'll put it at a corner of a table to kind of help bend it a little bit. Again, don't get too crazy with the bending. When you get it out this far, if you can put the jaws right across from each other, that will help out as well too. This doesn't have to be perfectly flat, just enough to make it easier to work with when you start hammering it. Over here, and you kind of see I don't want to move over here because it's already bent there quite a bit. Again, I'm going to use the corner of the table to help me out a little bit. And what you're going to have is a piece of copper like this. If you notice, it's not very flat, so we're going to finish it off the rest of the way. The way we do it, I'm going to use an anvil. Again, a hard surface. You may even want to bend this out a little bit more with your vice grips. You don't have to hit it hard, just gentle and just keep working it. Work it back and forth. Go to your other side. Again, you may want to have gloves on. My hands are tough, but most people, they grab a hold of sharp metal and hit it, it'll cut them, so it might not hurt to have gloves on. And if you notice, I work more on the edges, I work my way in. If you work in the middle, it's just going to bounce up and down. If you're on the edge, flatten it out, and then work in. It's easier that way. Now I'm just going to go back and forth with the hammer all the way across. As I do it, you're going to notice that the copper is going to curl towards the hammer. You're stressing the metal. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that here in a minute. If you notice, the hammer's hitting nice and solid on the steel block below. That means that we're pretty flat. I'm going to turn it around. Looking at it, as you notice, it's starting to curve up. Now, again, I want to put some dings in this. Again, we're going to use the ball peen on the ball peen hammer, if you have one. Again, these hammers are only $7 or $8 at the hardware store, or any store as far as that's concerned. Don't get a real heavy one. If you notice, this one's probably about an 8 to 12 ounce hammer is what they call them. Take the back of the ball peen, and you don't want to hit real hard, just nice steady beats. You'll notice you don't want a real deep dent, but you want dents. We're going to make sure we do the dents all over, and we're just going to hit randomly all over on it. Make sure you get up by your edges too. You may want to switch with your left hand and right hand if your right hand's getting wore out. I'm used to doing it, but you may have to take a little bit of a break to finish off your project. I turn it around, put a few more in it. And there you go. See all those dents? Again, the metal's curled. I'm going to turn it upside down. Flat part of the hammer. And if you notice, I stopped hammering. I wasn't hammering real hard, but we're fairly flat there. This is what you're wanting. This will be the outside of your cup, which makes the dents as what you see right here. Again, make sure that you got dots all over, that they're not evenly spaced, that they're just random. It's important that they're random. That's what gives it its own character. So, okay, in your kit, you're also going to have a piece of paper, it might be smaller, with a circle with a black line around it. Cut out the circle without cutting into the black line. Just be right up against the black line. It's not going to be perfect, but we just want it as close as possible. You'll see what we'll be doing next. Again, I didn't cut in the black line. I want the black line all over the place, on all sides, so I can see what I have. You're going to take your smallest piece of copper, not the big one, the small one. Lay your template, which this is what it is, up against this edge, and this edge here. Don't put it in the center. If you do, that means more cutting. So put it off to the edge there, and hold it down. Take a Sharpie, fine point if you can get it. You can pick them up at the stores. They're not that expensive, about $1. Lay your template down. Hold it nice and tight. Again, you may need your parents' help on this. And draw the line. Not a lot of pressure. Just enough just to mark it. Now, as you can see, I've got it on there. Now, don't rub it with your hands because you might wipe it off. Even though it's a Sharpie, it still can come off. Just to let you know, what you're making is a 3-inch circle. So if you look across here in any direction, you will see it's about 3 inches across. What you're going to do from there is you're going to, again, use your hacksaw. You don't have to cut into the line. You want to keep the black part of your marker exposed. You just want to cut it. It's not going to be perfectly round. You just want to get it as close as possible. One way of doing it is, again, find a solid place to work. Take your hacksaw and lay it just like that. And gently pull back, get it started. And this will take a little bit of doing. And cut your edges off. If you notice I've got them scored, keep cutting them off. Stop. So, if you notice, I have it cut out. You see a lot of my black line still showing. That's what we want. If you notice, it's not perfectly round. That's fine. We will grind that down and even it out when we're ready. We have to fit it to the cup once it's built. So again, make sure your black line is still exposed. We'll grind it down to fit your cup perfectly. As you can see, the nice little dents in there, the little dimples, that's what's going to look nice. When you cut that out from the template, you're going to have this piece left. Please bring that back. We may use that for future reference or something else. You might be able to stamp your name in it, and we can possibly add that to the cup at a later date. Reviewing, we have the 10.5-inch copper pipe that we flattened out. If you notice, it has all the nice little dings in it. That hides all the imperfections, and it definitely makes it look like it's handmade, which it is. You also still have this piece. It'll be a little bit narrower, not quite as wide. What this will turn out to be is the handle. We'll bend it and form it, and you'll make the handle, which will look somewhat like this. Each handle will be unique because they're handmade. We're not putting them on a form or anything like that, so you will be making your own handle to fit your needs of your cup. So as you can see, this is everything that you need to have when you come to the class, prepared and ready to go. We won't have time to do this part of it, so this needs to be done before the class. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a phone call or email me. Thank you.